Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Natasha if it is your first time here, and in today's video we're sitting in front of my bookshelf. I wanted to switch it up and do something a little bit different. I know my channel is mainly beauty, skincare, fashion, stuff like that, but I personally love the book side of YouTube. I love watching bookshelf tours. I love watching like books that I recently read, books that I just hauled, you know, that style of videos. And so I thought, especially during this time where so many people are stuck on self-isolation or on quarantine, lockdowns, whatever phrasing you want to use for it, it can get a little exhausting being stuck at home. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have watched so much TV, so much YouTube. I've been on my phone a ridiculous amount, and I went to sit down to film today and I was like, I don't really want to film a makeup video. Like I'm just not feeling it right now. Maybe it's because I'm not really going anywhere, so I'm like, why am I putting on all this makeup? Who knows? Anyways, I just wanted to share with you a few of my favorite books. Personally, I like reading fiction a little bit more than nonfiction. I do have some nonfiction books here on my bookshelf, but for me, I really just like getting lost in like a sci-fi, thriller, mystery style book. So that's what we're doing today. I'm just sharing with you a few of my favorite books, and that's that. So if you're interested in this video, just keep watching. Okay, so firstly, I am going to show you guys a few non-fiction books. Personally, I just like getting lost in a story, so I'm way more of a fiction girl, but I do have a few books here. Okay, so the first book I want to share with you guys is this National Geographic Guide to Medicinal Herbs. So this book is so cool. I have a garden in my backyard. I'm really into gardening, I'm really into plants, and I'm really into herbs and, you know, more natural medicine, natural remedies for like small things like headaches, stomach aches, you know, little stuff like that. And I just found this book to be so interesting. It basically goes over literally herbs. That's what it is. It gives you like a picture, a little like synopsis about the herb, what it looks like, where it grows, what it's used for, like when it was discovered, all sorts of stuff, how to use it, how to harvest it. It's super, super interesting. It has literally everything in it. Like this is just a whole section on garlic. It has a really nice index. This is a really cool book, especially if you're into herbs and plants and stuff like that and like the medicinal use of herbs. This is so cool, and I actually have a few friends who every time they see this book, they're like, ooh, that's dope. Let me take a look at that. So this is a cool one. This is more of like I mean, you can definitely sit and solid read this, but I like this book because it's kind of more of a just like a skim through it, see what's interesting, look at the pictures, little fun facts type of book. Like, you know, almost like a coffee table book, but this is really, really cool. The next book I have, which personally myself as a makeup lover, I think like every makeup lover should own this book. This is the Kevin Aucoin Making Faces book. Kevin Aucoin is, in my opinion, one of the best makeup artists that ever lived. Rest in peace, Kevin Aucoin. This book is amazing. So basically it tells you a little bit about his life, but mainly what it is all different styles of makeup and how to do different things, and explaining and breaking down like what products to use and how to do like this is all about brows and different shaped brows and different size brows and like what they're called, different styles of looks. Shows you how to do makeup for TV, how to do old Hollywood makeup, and it's really cool because it does have a lot of pictures of really famous actresses and models. Like this right here is Cher, and it tells you how to get this look that's in this picture right here. So beautiful. This is such a cool book because even though it is a little bit older and some of the looks in here are definitely a little bit more old school, it is so educational. Like I even learned, I feel like I was reading this and I feel like I learned more things by reading it. It's just so interesting. The techniques, like this one right here, so beautiful. So many different looks and just the different step-by-step guides on how to do those and different information. If you were really into beauty and makeup, I definitely recommend this book. It is so amazing. Even just to go through and look at the pictures, like, come on, look at that. That is like gorgeous. That is so striking, and it really just gives you, you know, the step-by-step to each look and like a little synopsis of like when this look was popular, who made this look popular, like how this defines certain things, how to define different shaped eyes and different shaped faces and stuff like that. Such a cool book. This is also one of those books where you can either like sit and read it through, which I have definitely done and I definitely recommend, or if you're just like, oh, I want to kill a little time, I want to look at some pictures, I want to kind of just you know, shift through really fast, this is definitely one of those books you can use because there's so much to look at and so many like little paragraphs and articles and stuff like that. Really awesome. Okay, so this next book I have like a soft spot in my heart for. I am a huge fan of YA books, especially YA romance books. I love a good love story and I love a good cheesy love story, and I don't know why, but YA I feel like just hits it out of the park with it because some romance novels are a little too like, I'm just not into them, but YA books, I don't know why YA romance just like does it for me. This is actually a book that I've had since middle school, and every time I'm feeling just like a little low or I'm wanting to read just like a really cute love story or something, I will pick up this book. This book is called This Lullaby, and it is by Sarah Dessen, who is like a huge YA author. I honestly think she's still putting out YA books. I don't want to give too much away about all of the books, especially the storylines. This book is kind of described as a story about coming to terms with the fact that loving someone requires a leap of faith and that a soft landing is never guaranteed. It's basically about a girl who is in a relationship with this guy, and I think deep down she really doesn't want to admit that she's super into this guy because her mom has had a bunch of failed relationships and she never really knew her dad, and that kind of like affects the way that she sees the world and she sees love. And this is just like a really good YA romance book. Happy ending. Most YA books I feel like have a happy ending in it. Super cute little romance book. This is something that you can get lost in and you're not going to be really sad while you're reading it. It's going to make you happy. It's going to cheer you up. It's going to warm your heart. And that's why I really love this book. And I feel like I really just keep reaching for this book. Super cute. And I will have all of the books I listed in the description box down below. I know right now you really can't like go out to the store and buy books. I mean, you can in some stores, but a lot of bookstores are shut down and you really should be staying home. So you can order these books online, or you can even get audiobooks if you don't want to deal with like shipping or anything like that. Audiobooks are a great option, and I'm pretty sure like every book ever is an audiobook as well. So keep that in mind, but I will list all of these down below. And that's that. So the next book I have is right here. It is called The Diary of an Oxygen Thief, and it is by Anonymous. This was a New York Times bestseller. This is a really short book, and this is actually a really quick read. It's less than 200 pages. You could definitely read this in a day, depending on your reading skill, but I think that most people should be able to read this in about a day. This is a really good short story book. Little synopsis on it. It says, Holden was an alcoholic and Lolita was a photographer's assistant, and somehow they met in a bright lights big city. He's blinded by love, she's blinded by ambition. Diary of an Oxygen Thief is an honest, hilarious, and heart-wrenching novel, above all a very realistic account of what we do to each other and what we allow to have done with us. This is like another type of, I would say, like, it sounds like it's a romance novel, but it's not really a romance novel. It's more just about, I guess it is a romance novel. It's about a relationship, but this is like a really cute short read. I really like it. It's not necessarily happy. It's not necessarily sad. I actually was really intrigued with this book, and I really like it because it makes you think afterwards. It's a nice short read, and it's not gonna like, have you ever read a book and it's like sad and then it kind of like ruins your whole day because you can't stop thinking about it? This is not like that. This is not like that. It'll have you thinking, but it is just like a nice romance. I have the hardest time describing, like, I did a video before where I was talking about like movies, and I have the hardest time talking about stuff without spoiling it, but this is a really good book. I really like it. Diary of an Oxygen Thief. I love the name for it. It's just cute. It's a nice short read. Check it out. This next book I have, you can tell that it is well loved in my collection because it's a little bit torn up. This book is called Black Chalk. I actually picked this up in an airport a few years ago. I was just walking around and there was a bookstore. I saw it, and I don't know what it is, but something about like the cover really just like did it for me. Like, I feel like a lot of the time some of the best books I find, like, I see them and I like immediately know like I need to read you. I don't know what it is, but something about it is like calling me. On here, one of the quotes, which I think really was something that pulled me in, was said, it says, a new Stephen King with a British accent. So keep that in mind. It is kind of like a scary, more thriller, more mystery book. Basically, a short little synopsis about it is, it's set in New York at Oxford University. A group of 6 students play an elaborate game of dares and consequences with tragic results. So it's basically about a group of friends that are playing like a truth or dare type game and how that can so easily escalate and go really big. And honestly, this book keeps your heart pumping. This is a thriller book for sure. I really loved it. I actually let my sister-in-law borrow it and she loved it. It's so good. I think I've read this book twice already. Dark, twisty, and fun is one of the other like short little quotes it says on here, and I agree with that. This book will keep your heart pumping and it keeps you engrossed. When I first picked this up and started reading it, like I could not put it down. It was just one of those books where I was like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I need to know. I need to know. And I'm pretty sure like the first time I read it, I was like, what? Like I did not see it coming. I was not prepared based on just, you know, how it looks, what it says. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Really, really good. It's a really good thriller book if you're into that. Yes. So this next book I only read because Spencer and I used to do this thing when we first went together. He would have to go out of town for like work trips quite often, and we would do this thing where we would buy 2 of the exact same book, and then we'd basically have like a mini book club within ourselves, and we would read it, and then each day we would talk on the phone and we would kind of talk about the book, and we kind of really bonded over that. And this was a book that he picked. Personally, I would have never ever picked this book out, and I'm actually really happy that he picked it and I read it because I did enjoy it, even though it's not really my style. This is called All Quiet on the Western Front. This is said to be the greatest war novel of all time, and this is by, I just realized I haven't been telling you the authors of any of these books. Or maybe I have. I don't know. I'm being sporadic about it. Anyways, this book right here, this black chalk book, this is by Christopher J. Yates. Like I said before, I will try to list everything down below. I've never done book video before, guys. Give me a break, okay? This book right here, anyways, back to this one. This is All Quiet on the Western Front. It said it's the greatest war novel of all time, and it's by Erich Maria Remarque? Remarque? I'm definitely butchering that. Sorry, dude. So this is actually a war book, and me personally, I don't really like watching war movies. I don't really like watching war TV shows. That's just like not really my thing. I'm not really into that. So when I first was like, this is the book we're reading, I was not excited. I'm not going to lie. But once I started reading it, I was sucked in. It's really, really good. And honestly, it's not that graphic. I thought that it was going to be really graphic in the war scenes and the fighting. And it doesn't. It has a little bit of that because it is obviously a war book, but it's not too much about that. So, little synopsis of this book. This is a testament of Paul Bomar, who enlists with his classmate in the German army of World War I. These young men become enthusiastic soldiers, but their world of duty, culture, and progress breaks into pieces under the first bombardment of the trenches. So something about this book that is really interesting is it's actually World War I, but the main characters in this are German, so you're reading it from the German character's perspective. So you'll see things and you'll read things about them fighting with the United States and other things, but you're reading it from the German perspective, and it is so it like just really pulls you in. You're following these young boy soldiers on their journey throughout the war, throughout the years, and their friendships together and their friendships back home and stuff like that. And honestly, I remember telling Spencer, like, thank you for picking out this book because I never would have picked this up and read it on my own, and I'm really happy I did because it is a really good story from beginning to end. It sucks you in. If you're into war books or a little bit more historical, this is definitely still a fiction book, but it does have some more historical aspects to it. Really good, really nice story. I liked it. So the next book I want to share with you guys is a Neil Gaiman novel. I actually really love Neil Gaiman. He's one of my favorite authors. I have all of these books to like here, and all of these stacked up right here are all Neil Gaiman books, and I'm pretty sure we have a few more like stashed around our house. I love Neil Gaiman. I think he's a great author. He does a lot of really good fantasy, sci-fi style books. This is one of my favorites. This is Neverwhere, and this book, and I think all of his books actually have a bunch of different cover art, and they all kind of look different. Like, we actually have 2 of this one too, and this is the completely different cover art to it. I personally am the type of person when I read a book, I really like to, you know, break the spine and fold it and fold my pages, and Spencer's not into that. So if he like really loves a book, he'll buy his own copy so that way I don't, you know, rough his up too much. This is a really good book, super cute. Basically about a guy who finds like another dimensional world and ends up getting sucked into this adventure of this other dimension. It's so interesting, it's so fun. It gives you like all of the elements you really want in like a fantasy book. You still have, there's like magic and unexplainable things and monsters and good and evil and all of that stuff, and it's such a good book. Neil Gaiman is so good at really giving you this whole world that you never thought of before. And I actually think in this book, no, it's not in this book. And actually with a lot of Neil Gaiman books, he's a type of author that does fantasy and stuff like that, and he goes so into it that you can actually find a map. Like for this book, for instance, this talks about really basically like an alternate city, an alternate universe under London, and he has maps you can look up online that kind of draw and break down, so you can think a little bit more in your head while you're reading it. You understand a little bit more like where things are taking place, how things are going. So good. I actually have quite a few Neil Gaiman books, like honorable mentions. I think Ocean at the End of the Lane is another really great one, and this is a little short one. This is basically about a little girl who has a pond in the back of her house, but it's really an ocean in her head, in her mind, fantasy. I don't want to give anything away. Really good. Definitely check out Neil Gaiman, and he actually has quite a few of his books that have been turned into TV shows, such as Good Omens, American Gods, if you've seen that TV show. Good Omens was a great TV show, and it's a great book as well. American Gods, Stardust has been turned into a movie. That's a great book. Definitely fantasy. One of my favorite authors for sure is Neil Gaiman, so if you're looking for like a fantasy book, check those out. Honorable mention, like, do I really have to say it? The Harry Potter books are, I mean, some of the best books ever, especially if you're just trying to escape. I feel like everyone should read the Harry Potter books, and the thing I really like about them is if you have read them multiple times, or even if you've seen the movie multiple times, I kind of feel like Harry Potter, the series, is one of those series that I could just pick up any book in the series. Like I can say, I'm feeling like reading year 3 today. I'm feeling like reading year 5 today, and I can kind of just jump around because I know the story so well. Really good books, really good adventure. I mean, do I have to say anything about Harry Potter? Like, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you should. Alright guys, and that's it. I could sit here and go book for book on my bookshelf and literally tell you why I think you should read and own every single one of these, but that would take forever. I keep hitting this poor little plant. Have you guys noticed that this whole video? I could just keep like slapping it around. Sorry, plant. Anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys a few of my favorite books and give you guys a little synopsis on them. Let me know in the comments down below some books that you think I should read, any book recommendations for me, as well as let me know if you like this style of video. I know, like I said before, that my channel is mainly a beauty and fashion channel, but I'm into other things, okay? I am a layered, multi-dimensional person, okay? Okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.